Just focus on these facts. She said she couldn't get a decent deal with a majority of 17. She now has no majority at all. What does that mean in the context of the national interest? On Friday night, I have to go to my children's primary school for a meeting to discuss how we're going to make up the £90,000 shortfall in the school's budget for next year. That's a result of austerity policies introduced by the last government. You'll forgive me, I hope, for not joining in with George Osborne's mischievous sniggering as Theresa May's fortunes take a plunge. George Osborne's policies explain why I have to go to my children's school on Friday to have a discussion about a £90,000 shortfall in the council's budgeting for that single state school in a relatively affluent part of the country. And if we're feeling the pinch like that, God knows how everybody else is. And you'll forgive me for not joining in with this sort of journalistic circle jerk where everybody's having a great laugh at the expense of their political opponents. And who exactly is talking about the massive, massive disappearance of nursing applications, of funding in schools that is disappearing, of NHS morale that's gone through the floor, of police complaining about cuts compromising national security. I even began to wonder over the course of the weekend whether the election has become bread and circuses for the bovine sections of the British public that can't see the end of their own noses. Oh yes, let's have a general election. And all the people I call friends and colleagues, all these journalists having a gay old time, having a right old laugh. Oh, it's hilarious. George Osborne's on the telly. Who looks smugger, him or Jeremy Corbyn? Oh, it's great. And then the ministers today start doing the rounds of the studios. David Davis, who didn't even know when he became Brexit Secretary that he wasn't allowed to start negotiating trade deals with anybody until we'd left the European Union. None of these people are getting picked up on anything at all. And what happens to the rest of us? Oh, it doesn't matter as long as we keep fighting each other, as long as we keep hating on each other. And I'll tell you something else that only occurred to me yesterday. What was missing from the general election? What was missing? Immigration. Took immigration out of the piece because both parties have signed up to this kind of post-Article 50 miasma of delusion. So as soon as you take immigration out of the scale, you actually see a country that could come together. They couldn't scapegoat immigrants for this one, so they tried to turn Jeremy Corbyn into a terrorist sympathiser approximately 24 hours before phoning up the UDA and UVF and Red Hand Commandos supporting elements of Northern Irish politics. I don't know what's next. I don't know what the next chapter needs to look like, but I really hope it gets written by people who have had nothing to do with the last 10. Because this is not funny. And it's not fun. It's a country in absolutely unnecessary turmoil, and it's turmoil that tracks back to the lies, the exaggerations, the misinformations, and the vanity, the sheer egotistical vanity of certain individuals that led this country off a cliff last June. And we're still falling. And I don't know where the bottom is.